Mr. Tarpeh, how are you?
Good morning, Daniel. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay.
This is our first interaction on air since the new year. Thank you for coming, sir. It's a pleasure having you. We're going to get straight into business because this is a very serious issue now. Even when I was speaking with our correspondent from Lower Bond County this morning, he was telling us about how the price of gasoline has risen up to almost $1,000 plus. You can just imagine what it is. The transportation fare yesterday was so high. What is the situation? Is there a shortage of gasoline or petroleum products in general?
No, we have sufficient inventory of the two products in this town. What you have is a bunch of unscrupulous people always intending to undermine this economy. We sensed the situation few days ago at the Ministry of Commerce, where people or gas stations were selling to an inordinate, a large number of jerry cans.
Okay.
And they were taking the gas and pouring it. And this is what they are doing. We have enough gasoline in the country. We have enough fuel in the country. So what we have, the step that we have taken is to stop it. The gas station will no longer sell to jerry cans. You sell to you sell to motorists. And so I can tell you we have sufficient inventory of gasoline on the market and sufficient inventory of fuel oil on the market. There's no need to panic, and those people involved in hoarding, we have a major problem with the Ministry of Commerce.
Now, what I want to know is, why does this happen? Because people will be buying gas. Gas was almost 5 something just a few days ago. And then people will be buying, and all of a sudden, I don't want to tie in with the address that's coming up later on Monday, but as all of a sudden, people start to see gasoline price, just astronomically go so high.
Yeah, because you see, the gas we live in a global village. The prices of fuel and prices of PMS gasoline, as we call it, is gradually increasing because of the tension between, the superpowers and Iran. So it's a normal thing. The prices will over fluctuate. So there is a perception that the gas will increase or the prices will increase.
Yeah.
But apart from that, you still have people here who are trying to create a panic. They just deliberately decide to create a panic, and that's what the situation is. So I can tell you that here we consume 152,000 gallons of gasoline every month.
Okay,
that's what we consume here. Yeah, around the country. That comes to about 13,000 metric tons. That's what we consume. As we speak, Total is pumping close to 8,000 a day. MP is pumping close to 6,000 a day. 6,000 metric tons. Okay, so if you add 6 to the 8, that's 14. SP is pumping close to another 6. That's 20,000 metric tons. That 20,000 metric ton is equivalent to about, let's say, that's about 700,000 gallons. That's more than what we need every day. So the gas is out there. The problem is we have unscrupulous some people who just decide to engage in activities to undermine the economy.
So at this point, is it the
show the public we have gasoline, we have fuel in adequate supply.
Is it the importers that are withholding?
No. We had a long meeting with the importers yesterday. They are not. The importers are cooperative. They are not hoarding. The people involved are some of the end users, the people who sell on the street, the people sell in the Jericho, even few of the gas station attendants, try to do all of that. But the importers and the owner of gas stations are not involved in that. These people are cooperative. They do the normal business. They supply their station. And with our came here this morning, I called Total. I'm in touch with SP. I'm in touch with MP. All of them are producing in terms of getting the stations supplied. In their language, they call it, all the stations are wet. So they shouldn't have any problem with that. Now, after those people trying to do that.
I spoke with a friend of mine, Sierra Leone, yesterday, who told me that, they're also experiencing, this sort of, kind of shortage or the hike in prices of petroleum products. So I'm concerned whether this is something that's, regional when it comes to, the increase in prices of petroleum products.
Well, what I'm saying, the prices are moving.
Okay.
There's an international formula called the Platt. Okay, Warren Platt. That's the standard. That's the formula that is used, and that formula tells you the daily movement in the price in the general price level of petroleum products. And at the end of every 30 days in Liberia, we review the 30 days and we are able to set the price. We did that yesterday. But if you notice, because of our ability to work with the suppliers and government determination to make sure that prices remain affordable. First, the product must be affordable, and then the price must be. I mean, the product must be available. The prices must be affordable, and there must be stability. You'll notice that the price of gasoline has been stable over the last 18 months, even though they are moving, but they are relatively stable. It's a market movement, so the prices are moving on the upper side, but that still does not justify the panic that is coming. It's totally unjustified if you look at the situation from the point of view of the inventory that we have.
So what should be the price of gasoline now, or petroleum products in the country?
$6.05 in Monrovia. Out of town, I think there's $10 or $15 more, but those prices have been regulated and set. Nobody sells gasoline for more than $605. But you find people selling it for $5.80. So we set the ceiling. You can go below the ceiling. You want to sell it, whatever you want to sell it, but nobody sells gasoline for $605 a gallon. Fuel oil would be $715. As some people will call it, fall for $720, but nobody's supposed to sell it more than that. And we have our inspectors on the field. You know, we run a very
that is what I'm going to talk about now, because at this point, the camp boys, as we call them, those selling the containers and jerry cans and barrels all across town, are mainly the ones who are selling at their own rate, if I should put it that way. So how are inspectors going to be out in the field? Because now drivers are hacking the prices of transportation due to the increase in the price of petroleum products. So now it's a two-way street. You have to implement on making sure the camp boys are not selling at a high rate, and also make sure that drivers are not overcharging ordinary citizens.
Well, when you talk about the drivers and the drivers are living with my young brother at the Ministry of Transport. I'm sure he's equipped enough to handle that. But sometimes it's a matter of trying to be, use a lack of a better, try to be dishonest. When the rates were hovering around 215, 220, gasoline price at that level, when the rate was at 205 or 210, the US dollar rate was still 321, but it was something like 680 or something like that. When the Liberian dollar went up from 205 to 190, well, that's where it is, but in the street language, it went down to 190. They say we're charging transportation, so I don't want to discuss that. What we are doing in the Ministry of Commerce is that when the rate adjusted, gasoline came down to 605 from 695. There will be some movement in the price. It's going to be based on the world formula, but we'll review it every day. We did a review yesterday. There are chances that it could go or move a little farther, but we keep it within bounds. And when that decision is made, we'll let you know. But the gasoline prices remain stable. Yes, there are movement on the world market. We subscribe to the international formula, but what is happening has nothing to do with that. Is the attempt of people to undermine the market. And at the Ministry of Commerce, I will be very clear. We have a robust inspector. We go after them. We find you selling gasoline above the regulated price, you have the ministry to contend with.
When will the team begin?
They started yesterday.
Okay.
They started yesterday. In fact, they started this morning. We started with the gas stations. I just sent some people across the street to Total, which is cooperating, and people should relax. There should be no panic. There is sufficient gasoline in town, gasoline in the field.
All right. Now this brings me to ask, in terms of what are penalties, awaiting those who are, hiking, intentionally.
That's profiteering. There's a law. That's profiteering. You could be charged and sent to court. You could be fined, or both.
Interesting. You're listening to Mr. Wilson Tarpeh here on the Super Morning Show, and he's providing us, the necessary clarification as to what is obtaining with this whole situation of shortage of fixed shortage, let me put it that way, of gasoline products on the market. Now, going forward, let's talk about this sector and how we can ensure that this sort of thing doesn't happen. Because I remember last time the president address was coming, the rate astronomically jumped, and prices went high for a few days before the president's address. So it seems to be a trend that these individuals who want to always create a sort of fake inflation in some sort of products just to create a sort of hike. And this is something I hope you're taking note of the trend.
We know it. We watch it. But there is something called business confidence.
Okay.
When you have in the economy, you have an operating environment where people have strikes, people have protests every other time. These are the things that have the ability to undermine the stability of the environment. So it reaches this level, and people will believe that this is going to happen. But I can assure you, the speech on Monday next week, the 27th, would provide significant comfort for the market to be calm, certain level of stability established, and so that we can have what we have. Really, the most important thing in this business, which is predictability. Meaning, I know what will happen when I file my papers. I know what will happen when I make this profit. I know what my tax will be. That level of stability will have been enhanced when that speech is delivered. So what people are doing, trying to rush, we're not going to allow that. There's nothing wrong with that, but to the extent you do it to profiteer and violate the law, then there's something wrong with that. And at the Ministry of Commerce, we are not going to countenance that.
How do you encourage the public to report? By what means, public can report?
We have
you can
phones.
Be anywhere,
we publish the phones. We got phone numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, we publish all the phone numbers. And I've always said the public has been the most helpful to the ministry, because they call and we go to the call and the situation is remedied, is corrected. We take care of it.
All right, and so if you're just joining us, a reminder, you found the SMS. Now, yesterday I listened to you also when you were at the program where the Japanese investors who have come to meet the Liberia Business Association, and you said something that I picked up. When I listened to it later in the evening, you talked about Liberian businesses becoming, shareholders and not stakeholders, and from the Ministry of Commerce, how do you push the president's dream of making sure that Liberians are not spectators in their own economy?
Okay. First, the Japanese investors that are here, let me back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometime last year when the president went to the TICA, that's the Tokyo International Conference for African Development, he gave a specific list of requests to Prime Minister Abe when they had a meeting. He wants roads, he wants to develop agriculture, and many other things. The mission that is here is in response to that, except that that mission is from the private sector, because the president's view is that if agriculture must thrive, it has to be driven by the private sector. And that's why that investment, those investors are here. We estimated something close to $158 million. That's why it made it possible for the private sector people involved in agriculture to meet with the investors yesterday. So that's the president's view. I mean, I'm not from agriculture. Fortunately, we have one of our best in this country who has been nominated as agriculture minister, and I have no doubt that she'll drive that dream of the president through.
Now, additionally, I'd like to ask, from the Ministry of Commerce perspective, in terms of working with businesses, people tend to often criticize the government, saying there are not many investors coming to the country, there's not much happening in terms of commerce and all of that. I'd like you to please give us an update about that.
Well, I don't know how people can say that, because if you say there are not investors that are coming into the country, first of all, let's look on the flip side. How do you expect investors to come here when you ensure that this environment is not normal? In spite of all that, there are investors coming. When investors come into a country, it's not like buying a pack of biscuit. How much for the biscuit? $5. You take it from your pocket, you pay it, and you take it. It requires steps. It requires processes. It requires understanding. The investor will come in like we have with the Japanese. They are doing a scoping. They vet the people. They will go back, do an assessment, and come again. And when they come again, then they begin to take the necessary step that will lead to the final investment. So it takes time. We have investors that have been coming here. So it's not correct when people say that.
People say that, yeah. Now, when your administration, when I say your administration, I mean when you became Minister of Commerce under this administration, one thing that was high on the agenda was this whole issue of stabilizing the price of basic commodities. Also, the issue of getting expired goods off the shelf was quite key. Even though yes, people seem to be falling in line at this point, but is that effort still ongoing to keep track? Because sometimes when you leave people by themselves, they tend to get complacent and fall back out of line.
Sometimes they do, but let me see what has happened. Let me tell you what has happened. When we got in, we rigorously went after that, and we found people wanting. As a responsible government, when you come into a situation that you establish a platform, a mechanism to allow and permit and help these people to report when there is a good or when there are going to be goods that are expiring, and we have the platform. Now, people who are selling in this economy, your supermarkets, your stores, there is a format where they can let us know within 30 days. Say, well, I have these goods that are expiring 30 days from now. We suggested to them, they agree. When you know that within 30 days goods expire, you have to get rid of it by what? Offering discount, and this is what they are doing. In spite of all that, there are few who try to turn the corner, but when you turn the corner, make sure you don't bother, you don't hit the people from the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Commerce, excuse me. When you do from the Ministry of Commerce, then you have a difficult problem. So there is a regime in place that allows people to report themselves. And I will tell you, those businesses that were caught from the beginning are the one at the head of this line, ensuring that they comply with the regime.
Going forward, are Liberian businesses, really bringing themselves forward? As it relates to the commerce side of it, and wanting to be industrial, wanting to be shareholders, and have fronting for businesses, as has been happening in the past.
That's our problem. The president's direction is to support Liberian businesses, and will continue to support Liberian businesses. But here is the challenge. Some of our people are not fair to other Liberians. For instance, you have this business that is set aside by law only for Liberians. Then you see a non-Liberian involved. You ask for the article of incorporation, and they say a Liberian owns part of it.
Wow.
What we are doing at the Ministry of Commerce, two things we are doing. There is now a draft law that will be forwarded to this legislature, and that law seeks to criminalize fronting. We are also piercing what the lawyer will call piercing the corporate veil. That means if you say that you own part of this company, we go into the records to see how active you are in terms of major decision making involving this company. Fortunately, there is a framework established in the Ministry of Commerce, and we are beginning to exploit that. And that framework allows us to hold administrative hearing. And I think the first set of hearing will be beginning the second week in February. Our work is almost done. There are some businesses that claim to have Liberian ownership. Our investigation shows that these ownership by Liberians are not substantive, and in fact, they are intended to bypass that. We'll hold administrative hearing, and when those hearings confirm that this is not the case, your license to operate will be revoked, and you have to restructure the company and give it to Liberians.
Okay, so it's either the Liberian, if he doesn't have the ability, will turn into the foreign business, then comes as a foreign business, and pay the taxes due, as opposed to being a Liberian business.
For instance, say for ice cream, for investment, 300,000 for ice cream. Anything below that, it has to be purely Liberian. Above that, Liberian must own 25%. If we find that you brought investment and you put that investment is going at 300,000, and there's a Liberian ownership of 25,000, which means the requirement of the law, piercing the corporate veil would be for us to find out if that Liberian actually owns part of that, if he has paid part of that. And second thing we do in the investigation is to verify that the investment you claim to have made that exceeded the 300,000, if that investment in fact was made. If we find out that is not the case, then we have to insist that you comply with the law. But before that, we'll put you through the administrative hearing, which has been established, a due process.
Well, very great. And I see one or two questions through text messages. There's a lot of people wanting, this is very important, especially a draft law criminalizing fronting, and also one that can show that if you are a decision maker, claim to be a decision maker, you must show, prove that you've made decisions affecting the overall operations of that company.
Daniel, we had a case just the other day. Water, circuit water, is exclusively preserved for Liberia.
Yeah.
We came across a water company. I will not call the name in order to protect the corporate identity. Yeah. We called in the owner of the business, and the Liberian showed up. Oh, I own 30% of this business.
Wow.
Okay. Where is the bank account? Oh, we have a bank account at ABC Bank. Are you signatory to the account? No. When we pierced the veil and did an investigation, this guy was duped $400,000 US. He didn't even know. And so, his partners, who are in the majority, they're going to have to go through the administrative hearing, and then the capital structure will have to be redone. And if it is proven, as we're beginning to find, that they got involved in business preserve for Liberian, that's a violation of the law, and the demerit will serve according to the law.
All right, so if you have questions for the Minister of Commerce, now is the time to ask. 0776-089-713, 0776-089-713, or 0880-514-096. Very key issues the Minister has raised. He's spoken about the issue of people holding the petroleum products and trying to create a sort of fake shortage. He's also talked about very important, the draft law criminalizing fronting, that will be shortly presented to the legislature. Let me hear from the first person here. Bobby Addison, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Daniel. Good morning, Minister.
Daniel, morning.
Thank you. Our people of the Maryland County to respect the government of this country. You won't believe it that the state sold the guys for $850. That's about 6 years. Transportation, taking the guys up, and it's sold for $850. That's a good news. And I hope and pray that they will come down. The force of what the people saw the condition Maryland County is also really in this program. And Minister, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You told the people of Liberia last year in August, if I'm correct, businesses or goods on the shelves of Liberia will be sold in Liberian dollars. Up to present, on the Dupo and the Dupo shopping center, most are not going to hear the rejunction notice people as they selling goods on the shelf, US dollar. Instead, what you told the Liberian people that as of August, goods will be sold in Liberian dollars, so every goods will be marked in the Liberian dollar components. Is this a problem that up to this time that law can be implemented?
No, thank you very much. Let me just address that. It's important.
Yeah,
first, I need to bring you up to date, my young brother. The law, that administrative regulation was promulgated in August.
Yeah.
We are in a dual currency zone. So when that was done, those prices should have been in Liberian dollars. Then the merchants came back and said, but we're in a dual currency zone. So we can also price in US dollar, which is fair. And if you give the quantity of the things that they are selling, until you go in the supermarket. For us, what is fundamental is that no business in this country should refuse the Liberian dollar. So, like my young brother is saying, go to the store, they will tell you it's $3. They must publish the Liberian dollar rate based on the central bank rate that is published. That is required. And if you decide to pay in Liberian dollars based on the rate, no business is refusing. If they do, you report it to us.
Okay, so it's not like it's forced
in this
to
republic,
be in Liberian dollars.
In this Liberia, in this Republic of Liberia, we are telling you now, if you go to any business that prices is good in whatever currency they have here, you have the right to pay that money in Liberian dollar if you choose, based on the central bank rate. As a matter of fact, the central bank rate must be displayed. If you find out that is not the case, you let us know and we'll take corrective measures. We have done this several times, and the ministry is determined to maintain that. There is no way any business can operate in this jurisdiction and you refuse Liberian currency. Then you cannot be here.
Okay, let's take the next call. Good morning. Good morning, sir. What is your name? Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
My concern has to do with the issue about sending government inspectors on a fee. I want the professor to know that Liberia Monrovia is not only Liberia. Look, Daniel, if you take a survey, you go Banga, Ganta, and other places, Daniel, when you come, you will not find any car. Almost 3 days ago, people selling cars only for $1,000, people selling for $900. And then a professor is saying that the government inspectors on a fee going around. I want to know, if the commerce inspector they only in Monofaya or they go in the rural places, then because down there, the people will say things. The people will say things, oh yeah, we send commerce inspectors on a fee, we'll be bringing gas on the press down, if you do wrong, we'll fine you. Down there, it has not been implemented. So I beg you, please tell the professor to really look into this about sending commerce ministers on a fee, not only
commerce inspectors.
in Kakata.
Okay, thank you. Point well taken. Yeah, you want to respond to that?
No, I think he has a good point, but let me just correct it.
Yeah.
We have inspectors in the field. I will be the first to admit to you that we have challenges with respect to the number of inspectors we can put on the field. You know, there's
how about outside Monrovia?
Yeah?
Outside Monrovia.
Yeah, outside of Monrovia. Okay. So you have to understand that this economy is in austerity mode right now. So we have challenges on the number of inspectors we can do. In spite of all that, we got support from the president, from the Ministry of Finance to bring more inspectors, and we are working on that. And if this young man probably can come to me, maybe he can help us where he is.
Okay, let me take the next call. Good morning. Okay, that person's off. Let me come back here. Good morning.
And good morning to the culture man in Liberia.
Go ahead, please.
My name is Abraham Political Mojisetu. I call from the most talk about Babuba Avenue in Jogo this morning. Let me appreciate the former Minister of Professor Wilson Tarpeh. I think your appointment by His Excellency President George Manawiya to foster the fruitful agenda for prosperity and development in the interest of the vast majority. I saw the entire inspector team at the Ministry of Commerce, Most President and Joseph bin David, the working started it. For those who cannot have the process on the Liberia market, I think that's fine indeed. For Honorable Minister, please do everything possible. Let the activity be monitored in the drug process so our people can receive the basic commodity with affordable price. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Together with positive mindset, we can make Mama Liberia a better place.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me take the next call. Good morning. Okay.
Hey, Daniel.
Good morning, sir. Please go ahead.
Talking to Minister. Well, Daniel, I don't have a question. I just want to recommend to the Minister.
Yes.
I think it's about time that you people become more reversed because if those of us in Monrovia that are experiencing what has been experienced, imagine people in the rural parts, all right? Daniel is starting to know that even while they especially with the issue of the young boys, these are people who are creating serious artificial shortage of gas on the market. Somebody will go and purchase the gas and bring it as a young boy and keep that gasoline and only want to sell in the morning to motorcyclists as very exorbitant price. I think the ministry needs to be more assured, especially with the inspectors on the ministry. You guys need to be more reversed, like I said. I think in like when we know the kind of opportunity, we need to rule with iron hand because people are just being so wicked. Some of the problem is not that it's for the angle of government. Some of these problems are self-created problems. So I think the ministry and minister, you need to reinforce your team to ensure that some arrests can be made because they've been done intentionally. It's really feeling to us, and so you need to beef up your strength to ensure that some of these guys are brought to justice. Thank you this morning, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
What is your name, sir?
Mark Emerald, just calling from some member.
Okay, go ahead, Mark.
This is Daniel. This problem in this country is honestly. You know me that the inspectors are not on the field, they are on the field. When they go, they meet the people selling, and now the price is also sell the station and they get money from them for their pocket. They don't work for the Liberian people. That's the problem. Sometimes they go to meet the people selling the gas, not the same price as they're supposed to sell it. When they station their children and they get their money, instead of they do the work, they will not do it. They will go the money, they go home. That's the problem.
Have you seen it happen anywhere before?
It happens to me, some member.
Okay, can you report it?
Okay.
Let me give you my direct number. I'll give it to you.
Hello, hold on.
Are you there?
Hold on.
Are you there? Are you there? Okay, but let me give you my number. My number is 888-111-777. If you have evidence of that you can support it, call me and we'll take the steps. But I don't believe that is the case. My inspectors are honest people and they don't engage in anything of that nature. Thank you.
So once you do it, once you see it, report it, yeah? Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Let's take the next person. Good morning. Okay, let me come to this line here and hear from this next person. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Morning, ma'am. What is your name?
Yeah, I'm Mawa.
You calling from where?
I'm calling from Uru.
Go ahead, Mawa.
Now, we're just somewhere in Compound 3.
Mm.
Gas is $950 for 1 gallon of gas. You know what my son was just saying, Justin, that's something for us to listen to. You go to a piece of job for the country to where who has, but that small money they will give you, you take it there, you leave the people alone. They're creating problems. So I want for my son this video there to really look into it. Because they know when something happens, the people will not look down there, they will always look at their head. Whether he's working or he's not working, they get done. So I really want for him to look in that particular case.
Thank you, ma'am. We will do that. I just announced my number. I will announce the other numbers of my colleagues. I have to get it and give it to them. And you need to call us.
Oh, of course.
You are the one who can help us because we can't be everywhere every day at the same time.
Okay, so we'll take 3 more calls before we come to wrap up this conversation. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. What is your name?
This is Felix Dempsey. I'm calling right from Partnersville.
Go ahead, Felix.
Yes, I just want to thank the minister for coming on air this morning because they've been baffling people what gas price has to go up to 1,000. Some people said even 900. But one thing I was there 3 days ago when I was trying to get a gas from Total gas station was that most of those that were taking gas are people who brought containers. I saw over 1,000 containers all land, all people who brought cars to take gas were not able to get that gas from the place. So I think one thing I want and I'm suggesting to the minister is that selling gas in containers should be curtailed. This is a very major problem. It has security risk, not only that, it also undermines the economy of this country because people take the gas from the gas station. Sometimes they go and take away the gas from there. And they go and sell it at exorbitant prices. The gas station people should be warned that nobody should come and take gas in containers. Those who sell gas in containers are the ones making this problem. And I think this is very, very serious. The gas station people should not sell gas in containers.
Okay.
Yes, I think my brother is...
You respond to that, Minister.
Yeah.
For 1 minute. Let me just speak with the Deputy Director General at LACRA, Mr. Musa Kone. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Good morning, Prof. Well, in as much as I am part of the government, but I think this would be my own recommendation. Somebody may say you have the opportunity to meet the Prof, but I think this should be on policy. Because I can remember I saw gas 1997, 1998, moving off war, when we were basically in the street, we were stopped. And you know that time when they say stop. And nobody saw gas in the street for so many reasons. People should not sell. One, you buy the gas from the gas station, you take it to your place to sell in the street what we call gamble, you have to add another price. In my mind, which is not the looking at our background, but you increase the price of the gas, and the people who want to go buy will always complain. The next thing that is, people, for you, safety, public safety, is not good. If you can recall, maybe 2007, 2008, there was some army guard was throwing red on the backpack because there was easy access to gas, and they took the gas and was the only air. They had the red in front of where gas was selling gas. So for so many other reasons, I think they should be some of the policies that government should really look at, be very strong about it. I know times are high and everybody needs to survive, but sometimes we need to look at the general mood of the Liberian people. I think that would just be my own recommendation.
Thank you, Musa. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
we'll take the last 2 calls.
Okay.
Yeah, then you just respond to everything. Yeah, let's take the last 2 calls. Good morning. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I call you from Coward in Traffic.
Go ahead.
The minister of the issue that the gas station around the flag opposite the Cabbage Street, right? That day for yesterday, even hours, they were saying that should have done the system because okay, I went there and they would buy the gas on higher cost. And I think that was unfair to us. So I believe that was all I'm recommending. Let us stop people from selling gas in the street, and that should be a strong policy that no one sell gas to people that have gas but vehicles. I think that will help the system and stop people from just to come through. Lastly, the issue of a spare part, Mr. Minister, you're not discussing that. There's a need that you've got to go to the spare part in the market, you spare your money basketball, you put your car, it cannot last a day. Very and all. I think you need to look at that. There should be quality for our money we're spending because it's going to serious for us that have vehicles and all the movie equipment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me join the next call. Good morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, Bob Ivan here. I think what needs to be done right now is that the Inspectorate Department of Commerce needs to pop up because then the escalation of prices are not just automatic. There are indicators you will see. Those guys are selling the street. You will see them pushing on gradual. At a certain point in time, they will hit the market at a sporadic level. So if you have a strong and response inspectorate, you will contain some of these situations that they can't be
in this society. People try to be dishonest. We have to deal with that. We will take the step necessary to beef up our inspectorate. Evans has said it. We'll try to beef up the inspectorate. Again, we got resource constraints, but we will work within the confines of the constraints, and we can do better. Again, I believe the public can be of assistance to us. When you hear these things, you call us. We get in there and try to do something about it. My young brother talking about the spare parts. Yes, we have the standard lab dealing with that matter, and at the appropriate time we will do a release of the kind of standards of things that are supposed to come in here. The situation with SP gas station and the other stations, we met the petroleum importers yesterday. Your SP, your Total, your National Petroleum, all of these major players, and they committed themselves to ensuring that they do not sell to any Camboy, they don't sell to any Gerald cans. Now, a question that came up: what if my car broke down and I need to buy gas? That's some of the things you will find out. Or what if Daniel wants to buy? He has a fuel slip. And he want to buy a fuel for the generator. How do you do that? But you see, at this point in time, you don't address those minor things. You take a decision that affects the majority of the harm, and that's why you do it. So we have taken a decision. The importers, the oil companies, we have agreed there will be no selling of fuel or gas to any Gerald cans, and that's not going to happen. And we have inspectors there. This morning, the Deputy Minister for Commerce, my Deputy Minister for Industry, all of my people are out, and we make sure that we do that. Now, let me say happy belated birthday to Musa Konen. I think he struck the same point too. But this is something that we have to do as a government. We are 2 years today. We can't continue to pet people. We are taking a decision that this is period going forward of compliance. You have to comply with the law. This environment has to be stable. To be stable, the people must respect the rule of law, and that's what's going to happen. Ferrets were talking about the gas containers too. Again, they were all talking about. I'm glad all of them have seen the harm for effect of that, and so the containers are not going to be allowed. Gas stations will not sell containers. People that are selling gas beyond the regulated price will go after them. And let me say this: we at the Ministry of Commerce are now considering the possibility of stopping any exportation of gasoline.
Really?
Yeah. We'll stop it until we can stabilize this situation here. You know, like you got tankers
going
going
to force, or you thinking about?
No, something that we may do.
Okay.
We may do, but we have to consult. We may do, because whatever it is, we have to preserve the stability of the market before you can do that. This is something that has happened before. It has happened before. So our first priority is the interest of our people here, and so we want to assure the public there is adequate volume of gasoline in the town, in the city, both in Monrovia and around the country. The prices will remain the same. What's going to happen because of the prices are increasing? But we also know that the Liberian dollar is no longer at 220. It is now at 195. So the possible increase in the movement, the adjustment will not be anything more than 15 cents. But that's not even going to come until we meet today. But the prices are going to remain stable.
Thank you very much. He's the Minister of Commerce.
I know one, we have sufficient gasoline and fuel in the country. There's no shortage. Anybody creating artificial shortage, we have serious problem with the Ministry of Commerce, because we arrest you and we prosecute you and fine you. The major importers have agreed. They are working with the government. There will be no sale of gas or fuel to jerrycans. And people who are doing that, when you sell it, you cannot sell it for more than the regulated price.
Thank you, sir, for coming. It's been a pleasure.
So please don't panic. We have enough. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. He is the Minister of Commerce.